Welcome back to another episode of See You on the Other Side. I am your co-host, Christine, and I'm here with Leah, of course, but we have a special guest, Audrey Allen, who is a certified private Pilates instructor.
Hi.
I love it. We're so excited to talk to you. We've been chatting for the last 30 minutes, and I love you already.
I love you both back. Oh my God, it just bounces right back to you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So, like you said, certified private Pilates instructor. I got into it a couple years ago. Pilates, if you haven't heard of it, it's similar to yoga, but it's more of a flow. It's definitely great for healing. It's just a form of exercise that really focuses and concentrates on your core and your form and focus, breathing, postural alignment, all that good stuff.
How'd you get into Pilates? Pilates.
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 My dad calls it Pilates sometimes.
Pilates.
Pilates. Yeah, come Pilates with me.
I love that.
It was a few years ago. So I used to be an athlete growing up. So I'm really used to the high intensity workouts. I would do those high intensity HIIT workouts all throughout college and growing up. But a few years ago, I got really sick. Didn't know what was wrong. It took a few years just to really figure it out. But overcoming that illness, it made me really sad that I wasn't able to move in the same way as I used to. And those high-intensity workouts would really just drain me. I'd be out the rest of the day. If I had a Saturday morning TRX class or something, I'd be a couch potato the rest of the day. And exercise really shouldn't be that way. You should feel very just empowered through your body, and it should give you more energy. And when I was recovering, kind of coming back into my body and feeling good, I found Pilates. I started an online course with someone, fell in love with it, realized this is so good for my body. It was not just healing me physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually as well.
Already speaking my language.
I know.
So the spiritual side of it.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on what you were struggling with?
Yeah. So a few years ago, I started a new job. It was, sorry, I can't really go into what it is.
That's fine.
So I'm going to limit myself a little bit. But it was a desk job, and I was working in media, and it went from one building to another. That was the only difference in my whole life. And about 10 days after working in that building, I just had terrible body aches. I had muscle twitches, twinges. I could feel it the most in my legs, just radiating ache. It was bizarre. Like I said, I was an athlete my entire life. So I know what sore muscles are.
Right.
I get it. I know what it's like to really overexert yourself and be sore. But this was radiating constant pain. And it freaked me out so much. It freaked me out. And I immediately hit the ground running, trying to figure out what's happening. It was very frustrating. So long story, kind of short, I went to a bunch of different doctors. Everybody's telling me I'm great. You look great. All the scans, blood work, tons of blood work, tests. I mean, everything looks great. And it's amazing to hear that from your doctor, and all these specialists telling you, you look great. Nothing's wrong. So what's wrong with you up here, So lots of doubt crept in, thinking, what's wrong with me?
Right. Is this just in my head?
This good report, but I know something is wrong in my body. I know it. And I had to start advocating for myself more. It's something that I struggled with. I didn't know how to do, but I went to these doctor's appointments. Mainly I went alone. I told, I can count on one hand the total number of people who I've told about my illness. And it turned out that as soon as I decided to give up and realize I'm just going to live this way, in pain, headaches, brain fog, basically the muscle fatigue, not being able to work out anymore. It turns out that my dad was introduced randomly to a environmental specialist who was a medical doctor and specialized in mold toxicity. And I was very, very sick from black and just mold. I had mold poisoning, basically. And to narrow it down, got my house tested. Like, really, I knew that one of the questions all the doctors had in common was what changed in your life to, make that shift in your body. And really, all I could come up with is I started a new job. And one doctor, I remember them asking, like, well, what's the environment like? I don't know. What do you mean? Like, it's just an office.
Right.
Like, it looks fine. And the environmental specialist, the medical doctor who asked me, like, no, look around. I'm going to teach you about water-damaged buildings and mold and growth and how it comes and what it is and what it does to our bodies. So I went back to work, of course, and I'm starting to look around, and I'm like, oh, there's a patch of, like, old water damage on the ceiling. That's weird. Kind of walk around the building. It's everywhere. There are mold spores on the vents, the returning air vents. There was black mold growing in the corner of this office. It was on their ceiling tile. And I mean, it was an old building. So I understand with a funky kind of roof. So I understand how water could have, crept in and get there.
Sure.
And then I reflected back a little bit more. The building is totally infested with rodents. I'm like, how can I think I'm working in this, like, clean office environment? And I have videos of, like, rats running down the hall. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then come to find out, there's another girl in the building who's sick like me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she was a little bit different, different symptoms manifested different ways.
Right, and our bodies respond differently to different things.
We were two girls, both grew up in Louisville. We had a lot of similarities in growing up, and she got sick about a week after working there. And I got sick exactly 10 days because I'm a freak and I, like, know within my body and, like, know when my, like, first doctor's appointment was to figure out, like, what was wrong with me. So it was mold poisoning, and there are ways to heal from that.
So how did you heal from that?
There are binders you can take, natural supplements. It's basically detoxification of your entire system. Lots of saunas, infrared saunas, float baths, salt baths, just sweating. If you can sweat, you can pee, get it all out.
Yeah.
So, and it took me so I started there, and it wasn't until the 1.5 year mark that I ended up with this environmental specialist, this doctor who figured it out. And she really only got into it because she had this too. Mm-hmm. So, and whenever I was doing my initial screens with her, they were so shocked and just said, like, we've never had somebody describe it at the level that you had because it's so similar to what she had, what the doctor described it as. But I remember being really frustrated because I couldn't describe really what I was feeling in my own body, the pain that it was. They were like, is it in the muscle or is it in the bone?
You're like, I don't know.
I don't really know. I don't know how to feel my bones. Like, I don't know,
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
I know it's not in the muscle, but maybe it is because I've never felt this way before. So I went to physical therapy as well. We did something called body mapping, and just to hopefully describe it in a clear, cohesive way. So you won't be looking. So if I'm just looking up, a practitioner will put like 9 dots on you, like kind of in a Rubik's like cube, just 9 squares. And then they'll tell you each one has a number. They're all assigned. Then they'll place their finger on one and say, which number is that? I could not describe to you what, like, I didn't know if you were touching here or here.
Wow.
I didn't know. In my legs, usually. Here up, I feel great, feel fine. So I just didn't have that connection. And what I've found with Pilates is I'm way better able to describe what's going on in my body so much better. I can differentiate what pain is in my own body, and it's empowering to help my clients do that as well because they're recovering from illnesses or injuries. And I work with a range of different people. Wow, I really took off there. I don't even
No, that is so interesting, but
it's so where we wanted to go.
Right, it's so where we wanted to go. And also too, you know, I was struggling with some illness too, but it was stress related. And it's so important, like what you said, to advocate for yourself. Because I think that we are kind of taught to not question a doctor because they're a doctor. And they know everything, right? They're way smarter than us, which, yes, they are. But also, no one knows your body like you.
But are they?
Mm-hmm.
They're very smart with what they they got taught.
They know what
usually.
they know.
They know what they know.
Yeah. But we know still human. And we do put doctors on a pedestal. I mean, and
absolutely.
They do it themselves too, which, like, fine. Cool. Like, that's awesome. You're a doctor. Like, love that for you. but
you don't know my body.
Right.
At the same time, you don't know my body. Yeah. And I remember.
But it's hard to advocate for yourself because you're like, I don't want to be mean. But it's, again, it's your body.
And the feeling of not being able to convey that message to a doctor that, no, this isn't right. Like, I'm telling you, this isn't just there. And the very first thing they told me is, you got to wait. You got to see if this manifests in a different way, because you look great. You look fine. You're totally functional. They're like, you look better than the average person.
But you weren't,
healthy,
though.
But I wasn't.
Right.
And it was hard, too, for other people. Like, I put on a face. Nobody knew I was sick. Not even, ooh, hi. There's nothing over there.
Your purse,
Are those our spirit guides?
I thought my cat was back down here for a second.
I was like,
Bear,
shit,
get out of here,
down
Bear.
here.
Well, it might be my spirit guide, like, being with me.
There you
because
go.
I've never told this story in a public way because I've been scared, and the shame associated with feeling sick in my own body, and I can't describe it to my friends. Like, what? What's wrong with you? You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I relate to hiding it too. I hid it for a long time.
This reminds me of, I'm going to go on a little tangent.
Okay.
It's related. So my husband for years and years was having a hard time breathing, but he wasn't telling me. And he was seeing specialist after specialist. And again, it's like, he wasn't telling me any of this. Like he's thinking he's got like lung cancer. He's a smoker. And he's like, I'm dying, and going to see different people and them being like, nope, nothing's wrong. You're fine. And the whole time keeping it from me because he was scared. Mm-hmm. And we ended up going on a vacation, and the whole vacation he was able to breathe. Like, he was having a hard time taking deep breaths. Like, he was like, you know, it's just something different. Mm-hmm. So we go on vacation, and he's like breathing fine. And he realized on the vacation, he was like, holy shit, I think I developed a peanut allergy because I eat peanuts. They're like sitting on his desk every day. He's eating peanuts every day. That's his go-to snack. And on vacation, he wasn't eating them.
Oh, wow.
So this is like him, like, oh, I think I figured it out. He comes back. He sees another specialist, and he has these tests done to see if he's allergic to peanuts. No. It turns out this took years, probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And he finally tells me, he's like, something's wrong with me, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it is. Everybody's telling me everything's fine. It was anxiety. I know. And I was like, well, you know, he's like, but I don't feel anxious. I was like, you know, anxiety shows up in different ways for different people. And if you're having a hard time catching your breath, but it made sense to me that he wasn't feeling it on vacation.
Because
of course.
Because he wasn't in his high stress environment job where he's on call 24/7, and he was able to relax, and we were with our family. And I was like, it wasn't the fucking peanuts.
Yeah.
We're just relaxed.
And that's funny you say that, because I suffered from UTIs and rashes, and people thought it was like I'm doing something wrong, but it was chronic stress. But then we'd go on vacation, and the rashes would start to slowly go away.
You're like, oh, I'm getting better.
Right, I'm like, I'm getting better. And then I'd go right back to work, and I'm like, oh my God, they're flaring up again.
So I said this to Christine earlier, and I think this is kind of where I want to take this today. I don't think a lot of people know how to connect with their bodies. And we talk about that a lot, like knowing, where things are coming from. Like if you're having panic attacks or anxiety attacks, like you're disconnected from yourself. That's what that is a disconnect from yourself. But you don't know what's happening, and you don't know how to explain it. You're just so disconnected from your mind and your body.
Yeah.
And I think as a society, I talk so well when it's just you and I, and then as soon as you put a mic in my face, I'm
great.
blurring my words, and I'm having a hard time getting this out.
You're doing great.
Thanks, guys. I think we are so out of touch with our bodies because we're always trying to get out of our heads.
Yeah. It's actually a different concept to explain. So you're doing great at explaining it. The mind-body connection is something that average people, we don't think about. We don't talk about. Like,
no.
What do you mean? There's a connect.
Yes.
And if you have a major, severe disconnect, it can affect your chakras and your alignment, your posture and the way that you sit. I mean, you can tell so much.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, what I was going towards is like that disconnect from the mind, wanting to like drink to get out of your head, smoke to get out of your head, whatever you're trying to do
drink
to
a
get
shit
out
ton
of
of coffee.
your head is going to further disconnect you from what's going on with your body and yourself.
Exactly. And healing in the healthy way is the hardest way. It's hard.
Because it's
to do
connecting
it healthy.
to
And
all of those.
It's facing those demons or the ugly parts of yourself or ugly parts of relationships with other people. It's not everyone has the ability to look that in the face.
And that is brave as shit, because that is a hard thing, is to face your demons and to really like get to know you.
Or why that's happening.
Yeah.
So I want to get into chakras.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I have several books on them.
Of course
I
you
have kind of started going into them because I got into crystals. I'm still into crystals. The whole alignment. That's kind of what I'm doing right now with these Kundalini appointments, is trying to like fully align. What's interesting to me is that connection to exercise, the connection to Pilates, because I have a friend. I mean, this happens to me even. Like if I'm in yoga, like I'm crying and I'm like, why am I crying? Like, I don't know, but there's something in me. Yeah. There's some type of motion or energy moving throughout me that's like making me want to cry. But she was talking about how she was doing these movements with her hips and immediately started crying and couldn't understand why. And I just think that like connecting to our bodies is that we're also subconsciously connecting to our minds and to pain and to trauma.
Yeah.
And helping it come out.
And trauma is stored in our bodies, and especially for women, it's stored here and here. So we're tight here, here, and we like make ourselves really small. So when you start to open up, especially through the hips and dancing,
okay,
I can't even do a body roll.
Oh yeah, you can. I can see too.
She looked at you. She's like, "Oh yeah, you can. Yeah,
teach me."
You can. I promise you can. And actually, I work with all kinds of different people. I work with older folks on balance and stability, recovering from illnesses and injuries. So that's much slower. I started specializing in prenatal, postpartum work. So a lot of my clients are pregnant women or coming back from having their babies. And we do lots of pelvic floor. So, of course, like that entails a lot of strengthening there and in the core. But it's a lot. Having a baby is very traumatic. And whether a client is open to that, you can tell just by talking to someone how open or closed they are. And how open and closed chakras, that they have are. So it's amazing to just see somebody and see them work through. But yeah, through dancing and the hips, the shoulders, opening up, you're healing.
So I want you to get into chakras, and a lot of people don't know anything about what their chakras are.
Give us a 101.
Yeah, you know a lot.
I know.
I
so
know
I'm
a
gonna
little.
Stay quiet.
Yeah.
No,
so
we'll keep it basic.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. We can go through each one of them. So chakras are think of them as whirls of energy, just whirls of energy. And it's an ancient awareness. And in different cultures, it varies. So some believe that there's 9 chakras, 5. I can see how they kind of all relate to one another. I believe there's 7. There's 7.
Okay.
Some practitioners think like, or people think it's more like in front of us, behind us, in our joints, wrists, knees, hands, whatever. I think it's all along your spine. So, and that's a very popular belief. So today I'll mainly be referring to the chakras along your spine. And of course, like I'm all about the alignment and Pilates. So of course I think it's along your spine for symmetry and balance and just a nice cohesive message. But anytime you see like an illustration of what chakras look like, they all have different symbols. Every time you see that illustration, it's just that, just to show you like what it that whirl of energy represents and what it's all about. So yeah. So did I give an okay overview or like okay?
Yeah. No, that's very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so go into. Can you go into each one?
Let's go into each one.
Do it.
Yeah, let's do it, and then we can talk about it and just see how we feel about it. It opens from the or it closes from the top down. So really, we're going to start like at the fundamental, basic level is your root chakra or your base chakra. So some practitioners think it is related to even when you were in your mother's womb. Wow. It's about if you were a wanted child, if you received unconditional love as a baby and growing up. I think that we all are able to come home to ourselves, and it's not really necessarily about if you had the happiest childhood or whatever, but if you were shown love. And it's associated with grounding, which Pilates, like the first thing you learn is grounding. It's called grounding. It's called like just coming into the deepening of yourself and how you relate to the earth.
Wow.
So it's kind of obvious. It's like, the base one, like the first one is a good solid foundation. And if you have like excessive energy,
that's what I was going to ask is how do you know if it's...
Yeah, that's such a good question. The practitioners talk about in terms of openness and closeness that each chakra has. And there are about 7 different levels. Anywhere 4 up, you're pretty open. And you can continue on to the next chakra or wheel of alignment. And so if you know that you're off in the very foundation, that root chakra, you're very insecure, just an egomaniac, very domineering. And it's just because they're scared. They're insecure. So they lash out. So if you're feeling like you're having trouble connecting to the earth, then you might be like a little deficient in this chakra.
Very interesting.
So
very interesting
book I'll let you take because it also talks about I'm not taking over, but how to tell when one is aligned and when one is misaligned and when it's too much and when it's not enough.
Right.
And there's I listen to chakra balancing frequencies to sleep.
Okay.
Because there's a frequency also that resonates with each chakra. So like your heart chakra, I listen to a lot of heart chakra stuff. I don't know why I'm always like trying to heal my heart, but that makes sense.
Maybe it'll make sense later too when we talk about the heart.
Yeah. So there's different ways that you can align them. Like I have a playlist that's not frequencies. That's just like there's Beyonce on there because one of her songs like is some sort of frequency that resonates with your heart chakra or
I'm gonna listen to this going to bed.
I'll send
now.
it to you.
Okay, please.
Yeah.
I have that head mask that you have where I like literally like listen. Sometimes I listen to the Johns Hopkins playlist that I listened to when I did my mushroom trip.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Ground you back. Okay, so root chakra, grounding.
To your point too, the sounds, and each one also has a color. So the red is for the root chakra. It's like the earth element. It's just about deepening and feeling like empowered and grounded. So, but yeah, the sounds, the frequency, the bowl, the healing bowls, like I'm getting into all of that stuff. I don't feel like I can speak like super well on it yet, but It's amazing. I mean,
so if you get
so
more
cool.
versed in that, we'll have to have you back on.
Oh yeah, we can do a sound
I love
bath.
singing bowls.
I've never done that.
It was, I did one in Sedona. It was pretty magical.
That'll make you emotional too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it can just trigger something else in you that you don't know is there. That's just lying dormant.
The first time I ever heard about any of this, I had done a Reiki session, and it was the first Reiki session I had ever done. And she had to do a lot of work around my heart chakra. And on my way out, she was like, you may cry a lot today.
Oh,
You're going to be releasing a lot. And I was like, okay.
makes sense.
But then she said this frequency, she gave me a frequency. She was like, you can look it up on YouTube. It's going to be hard to listen to if your heart's not aligned. And it was just a tone. It was just a frequency. It wasn't musical. It was just a, I can't do it. But
yeah.
So I listened to it in the car on the way home, and I was just like, oh my God. Like, it was just pulling something out of me. Not in a bad way. It was something that was stagnant and it needed to be out. Mm-hmm. So it was like pulling this out of me. And it was uncomfortable to listen to until it wasn't. Does that make sense?
But I think so many people are scared to release it.
Because
they're scared to feel it.
We're afraid to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't like feeling uncomfy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I don't like that.
I'm like learning to embrace it. But you and I are like, fuck it, let's do it.
Right. So that was the first time when I was like, this is crazy that this sound is making me feel this way. And she told me this, and she said it would feel uncomfortable. So what is a chakra and how does that work? And so that's when I started like going down my rabbit hole of colors and the crystals. Okay. So root chakra. Sorry.
No, all good.
Okay.
But blocked chakras can really impact your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health. So it's really important to just try and keep them all open. But I think we're just jumping ahead. I think we're going to talk about the heart and throat chakra the most. So
Okay.
I'm excited for that. I'm going to try and stay in order.
Those
but
those are my favorites.
I want to jump. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I just want to make sure I've like
we cover all.
Yeah, I cover everything. Okay, so the next chakra is your sacral chakra. It's basically at your navel, if you were to envision it somewhere in your body. And it's associated with emotions, pleasure, relationships, just everything's based upon this foundation. You're already at your root chakra, right? So going up to this sacral is more about like your wants and like the things that you need, because you have all of your other foundation things that you need like met already. So it's associated with self-worth, a sense of belonging, a healthy sense of self. You care about other people's, very fundamentally good person or good people, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of people have that base level.
Is this where your self-worth lives?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Almost. So the next one is our solar plexus, and that's really where our ego develops. That's about your self-image, and the ego isn't all bad. Like, this is really where, we come with positive talk and we create our self-image. We want it to be more positive, and we let go of the ego later whenever we continue.
Well, it's like kind of what Steve Hupp said. He doesn't necessarily like to refer to it as an ego death. Yeah. It's an ego transition or transformation.
Yeah. I've been dying to say this because I heard it in another podcast and we haven't had a chance to bring it up, but since we're talking about it, I'm just going to bring it up. I heard this way of looking at the ego and your body being like your human body form being a car, the ego being the fuel, and your higher self being the driver.
Ooh.
And so it's important to have that ego, but it's also important to remember not to let the ego drive. So your higher self should be in the driver's seat. Your ego shouldn't even be in the passenger seat. Like, don't let it try to help you. Don't let it make the decisions in your life for you. But it's there as fuel to let you know that you're good. Yeah. You can still keep going.
Yeah. I like that.
So I like not having the ego dissolution too, because I'm like, it's really important to remember that it's healthy.
Right.
Yeah. It's
when you're not letting it drive.
Yeah, we need the ego.
Yeah.
Come back to grounding and knowing who we are.
Yeah.
So, and we let go of that later. I like that, the transition to a different ego. So, yeah, I like that. Okay, the way that you'll know if you have too much energy in this chakra is if you're feeling really guilty, if you're distrustful of people, you're thinking twice, like, why do I not trust this person? Which, like, the solar plexus, also the next chakra, is all about your gut instinct and intuition. So really, if you're distrustful of people around you, you're deficient in this sacral chakra, then you're not going to be able to level up.
That's where womb work is, right? Like,
Yeah.
babies and carrying, giving birth and your sexual energy.
Oh yeah, this is
all in the sacral.
These two, the root chakra and the sacral chakra, are sexual. Like they describe your sexuality, really, just like the basics of sexuality. The next ones we'll get into are more emotional, and then after that is head and spirit. So it really is just, that's why I love it.
So like literally just going all the way
up the spine, just elevating like up the spine. I also listened to your all's podcast about narcissists. Yeah. And I wanted to relate that back. Okay. That would be at this chakra. So like if you are, have excessive energy in the sacral chakra, you're likely
a narcissist.
A little narcy. Yeah.
Ooh.
I never knew that.
Little narky narc.
Yeah, little narc. Yeah, but it's true because like you're feeling distrustful of people, you're manipulative, you only care about yourself. Like it's and honestly, lots of narcissists are just trying to protect themselves.
Yes.
And they don't even realize
it. And that's something that I've learned
to like
recently too. It is a protective skill. It is a protective mechanism, and it's trying to protect their ego.
Yeah. Which is solar plexus. That's where our, our gut is more like solar plexus. Have you guys ever heard of like leaky gut?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically it's just leaky gut. There are certain foods associated with the interior lining of your gut. It can wear down. And if you have a leaky gut, some of those toxins leak through. It can affect your brain and the way you make decisions. So
shit.
And there's so much talk about gut health now and how it really like impacts
every
everything.
aspect. Yeah.
Super on trend, right now, really thinking about that connection. But this chakra, if you are grounded and balanced here, you're going to have a great gut. You're going to know when things are wrong or who to trust, who not to trust, what job opportunities to take or leave. You'll know it in your gut. It'll just be that inner knowing. And you can listen to that if you feel balanced in this
so excited
chakra.
For this.
Yeah. So this is also where I dive a little bit deeper into the Pilates, just because you want to make sure that you're able to trust yourself in your own body. So it's only strengthening that mind-body connection. So like we're getting to the basics here and just being able to like express yourself well. Yeah. And if you're deficient in this chakra, you'll have lots of anxiety and fear, just like scared. You will be trying to like protect yourself. But when it's balanced, we're outgoing, cheerful, in touch with your own needs, just happy and seeing good in others. Wow, am I okay? Could I get that out?
Yeah.
Stutter.
See, it happens. It
does happen.
It's the mics.
But you'll know that you're blocked in this chakra if you're being overly judgmental of other people, if you feel like excessively like just mean to yourself, like negative self-talk. Fear of being alone and poor digestion. So if you're having a little tummy troubles, like then you need to get a little bit more balanced here in the solar plexus.
Wow.
Where your gut is. Yeah.
You're bringing all of this back to like your body.
I'm trying.
I know, this is so interesting.
Well, really, I wasn't aware of chakras. Like even when I started Pilates, I was just trying to rebuild my life. I had just moved back to Louisville. I didn't have a job. My relationship just ended. I didn't have a place to live. Like, I was just in the rebuilding phase of my life. And when I found Pilates and it's helping me heal my body, but then I was like, oh, I'm waking up. It's healing my mind, my emotions, like my spirit, my energy, everything is being shifted. Why? I don't know how, but I discovered chakras, and ever since then, really been in tune with healing it in myself and for others. But like I said, I can't remember if we were recording or not.
I don't think we were, and I know where you're going.
That a lot of people don't know that they come to Pilates because they want to get healthy, they want to overcome their illness and injury, and they don't really know that we're working on this stuff. So I feel like a little ninja, like not like, talking about chakras, but we're talking about grounding. We're talking about that mind-body connection. We're doing all the things. They just don't really know it.
Right. And some people and some people don't even like really know, like if you ask them, how are you? And they're like, I'm fine. But they're not fine. Good. And they don't even know because they're so disconnected with themselves. I mean, myself included.
So you're like, you were, oh my God, a Pilates ninja. She's going in and she's like, how are you feeling today? No, really. How are you feeling?
Really, how are we doing? Which we do this weekend. And honestly, as soon as somebody lays down on a reformer, I can see their postural alignment. I can see where they're off. They might very well be off in that chakra associated to that part of the spine. So, and one of my favorite clients I was talking to, just like really lacking in that heart chakra. And I'm talking to her. She finally tells me her husband just died. Like, she's going through all of this stuff, like all the things. And I'm like, oh, we're just going to work from the, bottom up. Like, we're going to get you all fixed up. But yeah, I don't know where we went off on that.
No, that's what good. I love, because you are able to see kind of energetically where someone is by just looking at them and where they're hurting in their body.
Yeah. And just by talking to them very gently, like, of course, like, I think people would be like into this more. They might be like into psychedelics more if they just understood it. And people just don't understand. They don't want to understand. And the studio where I am, it's about, feeling good in your body. I went to a couple of other classes at other studios, and the guy was yelling like, work your ass off, like, get your summer body. And I was like, oh, wrong place. Like, I'm not trying to be here. I'm trying to, like, feel good in my body.
Yeah, I've done the reformer too, and I remember just, like, not even really feeling, like, welcome.
Ooh,
so how can you open yourself up if you don't even feel comfortable or safe, or you feel judged, or like you don't belong?
Right. Yeah. So I always want, if I'm teaching a private, semi-private, even my class sizes are pretty small. We keep them small for a reason. I just want to make sure I'm connecting with my peeps and making sure that they feel good and comfortable, and all my people, like.
But I think that's what's making you stand out a little bit. Like, that's what's making what you're doing very different from what other instructors. Not saying that, like, nobody's doing this, right, but I feel like you can tell.
Yeah, I think I'm in love with you.
You're getting so many crushes. All right, so we've got root, solar, sacral.
You're close.
Solar. I always get those two mixed up.
Solar plexus.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the next one up from that is your heart. Are we there?
I think so.
Hold on. Oh, it's 11:11, or it's 1:11.
Love that.
I just happened to look down.
I see that all the time, and Tony will be like, "Hey, it's 11:11." I'm like, I know.
My friend and I will send each other like little angel numbers all the time. I'm like, oh my God.
Love that.
I love her.
I like that. I love those kind of friendships.
Oh yeah. Just
you're mine.
Madeline's going to be sending me angel numbers until we die. Like, that was just a joke of ours. But our next one is our heart chakra. It's associated with green. It's associated with love, centeredness, balance, compassion, and just overall composure and beauty and empathy. It is associated with changes and transformations. And it actually is one of the most vulnerable chakras. Mm-hmm. So when you are hurt, everybody has felt that heartache. And when you are hurt, the impulse is to just shut down.
Yeah.
And it can be a defense mechanism just to make sure that you survive. But at the same time, you're also numbing yourself not only to the pain, but to the joys, to all the joys of life. So when the heart chakra is closed, it's just like that person is just numb. But I remember when I had just moved back, just being very closed off, closed down, and just needing to heal from the inside out. And a lot of heartache, and a lot of women especially, like when we're broken up with or dumped, it's like they get in the gym, you know?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They get new hair. They go to Kayla.
Yeah. Shout out to Kayla.
Shout out to Kayla. They get their hair done. They go to the gym. They're like, they've got 4 jobs and a master's degree.
They're
like
trying
all
to grind.
in 3 seconds. Yeah. So it's always interesting, those who like come. Yeah. But it's a very vulnerable chakra. And you can tell if you're deficient in this, if you're very indecisive and you're not like having an easy time making decisions. It means you're also not trusting yourself. Is that something that happens with you all often? Is somebody indecisive?
I'm very indecisive.
You guys are having a look.
Yeah, I'm very indecisive.
So maybe that's why you're so drawn to the heart chakra and healing it, just because like you need to learn that it is safe to go within. Like you can, you're fine. Like you've got the love and beauty and exude that outward, and all you're gonna do is like see love in others, but you have to see it in yourself as well. Because when you're excessive, you might be excessive in the heart chakra because what you're doing is giving excessively to everyone else and you're ignoring yourself. Mm-hmm. And through Pilates, like you come and we're working on your body. Like you can't bring anyone with you.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I always tell you to trust yourself.
Yeah, you know.
I did not come for therapy, guys, but I'm getting therapy.
Every episode, I feel like every therapy session.
Every episode is a therapy session. It's just interesting to me that was one of the first times I ever heard the word heart chakra was like in a Reiki session. And that's something that what you said, like I've been drawn to that. Even this morning, I left a Kundalini session. I'm doing like a 7-week protocol.
Cool. I love it.
And we did a lot of work in the crown chakra, but like it was also about trusting myself. And I might cry saying this because last week I had a session and the thing that I said out loud, and I hate even saying it, is I don't feel important enough. And she was like, ooh, say that again. And I was like, I don't want to. It doesn't feel good to say that. It was just a thought that came out. And I was like, oh, that hurts. So, yeah, it's that trusting myself.
And you are important to so many people, but you're also important to yourself. And to, like, your own mission and goals here. And not to make you cry more, but interestingly enough, like, it's nice to know that you are working on your heart chakra because guess what? Your root's great, sacral's great, like, solar plexus, phenomenal. Like you've got all of that because you really wouldn't be able to work on that if you didn't have that nice foundation. You really do.
And I said that today too. I was like, I just feel like I'm doing all of this now because I feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you're
and
safe
that's something that
well.
I didn't feel before. So that's interesting. I never thought about that, like that feeling of safety, like having something under me. Mm-hmm. Which makes a lot of sense because under your heart chakra is those 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it really feels like there's something under me to catch me when I'm feeling like overwhelmed.
Well, and we were
emotional.
just talking about it the other night when we were texting. You grew up in a very chaotic, unsafe environment. So
it's just something new for me.
Right.
Like the feeling of safety is something new to me.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a little bit of practice to trust that I am fully, I mean, I do believe I am fully safe now, but now I love hearing this all from you because I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. Like I really am working up.
It makes perfect sense. And I can relate to that because coming back, like when a relationship doesn't work out, and sometimes if it ends poorly, when I moved back from Boston to here, how could I trust myself to make decisions on what kind of partner I should be picking for myself? Because I stayed with this man for 4 years, you know, and I trusted him to the extent that I
moved for him,
quit the job, sold the house, like did all of the things and moved 900 miles away. So when that doesn't work out, it's like, wow, I'm distrustful of this person. They lost all of my trust and respect. But also driving back from Boston, it was healing. But in one regard, it was like, I don't trust myself. Because I trusted him so much and I trusted me so much that this was going to work out. Like, thank God it didn't, honestly.
Right. But you don't see that.
But I didn't see it that way when I was in it. It was just like, I can't even trust myself. So in growing up that way for you, like, it has to be hard, and you have to be able to know that you can come home to yourself. It doesn't matter how you grew up. It doesn't matter if you were even wanted. Like, you're here now. So you can always come home to yourself and ground and deepen that relationship with the earth.
Moving on.
Moving on. I knew the heart chakra was going to be a big one. From a big one. From the few that you mentioned. And a lot of fear of rejection if you're deficient in this area as well.
So abandonment wounds?
Yeah,
that's
I got that.
Probably my thing.
That's my thing.
That's my thing.
It's my thing.
And if you need constant reassurance all the time, you may be deficient in this heart chakra.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, sorry. I mean, I don't mean to like.
No, I want you to keep going into it.
Yeah, but this also ties into attachment styles. I'm sure you guys are familiar with, like, if you have an anxious attachment style.
I'm anxious.
Like, I'm a fellow anxious.
Okay, good.
I'm an anxious, like, avoidant, like, attachment style. And it's about trust. Mm-hmm. It really is.
Yeah.
So anyways, like, and just in the grand scheme of things, just with chakras, so much can be pulled into this. Just, like, learning about the attachment styles and narcissism and all the things. Anyways, okay, moving on. We can go to
It's all connected.
It's all connected. And as we move up, especially, like, the third eye and crown chakra, is knowing that all is one. Like, we are all connected, like, on a fundamental level. Anyway, sorry. Let's get ahead of ourselves.
I love this.
We'll talk about the throat chakra next. This is all about the clear communication. The center of communication is with your throat. If you are balanced here, you are able to speak really well. Great speaker. You're honest, and it's what practitioners call a bottleneck level of development, because not everyone can get here. And this, now that I'm describing it to you, I can see how this might relate to you all so well, because when you are comfortable with yourself, you want to talk about it. And when you're balanced in this chakra, you want to talk about the unusual experiences that you've had or having in life. And that makes a lot of people uncomfy. People don't want to talk about your unusual experiences and what you've been learning.
Just had this experience where, like, I kind of felt like I couldn't be myself because I wanted to go deep and I want to talk about unusual stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was met with a lot of
resistance.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed how my personality kind of changed. Yeah.
Because you also, like, we're all human, right?
Right.
We still have that ego. We still want to be accepted, and we want people to like us.
Right.
So it's hard because you want to hold back. Oopsie. Sorry. You guys are going to make me start crying.
Keep going.
We were literally just talking about this last night, texting.
Yeah, it makes people uncomfortable. They don't want to face it themselves. So, like, why would they want to hear it from you? Like,
well, and I was met with, I kind of don't want to talk about it. I like living in my bubble and things being simple. And I'm like, I am so not that, though. I crave deep connection, and I'm trying to connect with these people.
Mm-hmm. And it just means that you're balanced in the throat chakra because you're comfortable talking about it.
But I could sense myself, like, becoming defensive and, like, a little angry and bitter.
Pulling back.
Whereas, when I am balanced, I'm actually really chill. But I feel like they don't get to see that side of me because it's almost like I'm going in with this, like, defensiveness.
I think this space creates safety for that.
Yep.
Yeah. And it just sounds like something you're passionate about. So
right.
Maybe it's not necessarily defensiveness. It's just something that you're awakened to this, right?
Right. Yeah.
Other people are not, and
Right.
they're going to be very resistant to that.
Yeah.
They don't want to be uncomfy. No one wants to be uncomfy and talk about mushy feelings or like face their demons. But you guys are balanced. You can just tell you're balanced in this chakra because you're able. I mean, look at your production and your podcasting community. Like, you guys are spearheading this and opening the conversation of this type of a chat.
Yeah.
So one of the things, I do want to say this because I've noticed, like, even when I feel like my throat chakra started to open and I was able to speak my truth and talk about the things that I had gone through. I read something the other day that's like, speaking my truth isn't to hurt you, it's to heal me.
Ooh. That is so good.
I don't remember where I read it, but I was like, ooh, I need to take a picture of that. And now
That is so good.
But that's what it's been for me. I'm speaking my truth, and it has nothing to do with revenge or getting back at my parents or making anybody look bad. But this is healing for me. But also, that's like, to me, that's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, that's my throat chakra open.
Absolutely.
Because
you're able to speak your truth.
Every now and then, like in that situation, and I have those same type of relationships sometimes where I feel like I can't be myself and I start feeling uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because I can't open up.
Well, and I
don't like that.
And I feel like that they don't really accept it. They're like, oh, yeah, that part of you? Yeah, we don't even want to go there.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Because they're uncomfortable for themselves. They can't, no one can meet you, you know,
I
as
know.
deeply as they've only met themselves. So,
let me just ask a question here.
yeah.
Like, just because this is like energy in motion, these chakra systems, it's like whirls of energy.
Yes.
So you can be closed off one day and open another day. And it really just means like coming into yourself and figuring out like where you're feeling too open or too shut off.
Yeah. So
it
think
can
about
vary.
It can vary in day to day, moment to moment. Like, it can be. And like, chakras don't close just because of one event. They close because of like things keep happening and reinforcing that. So it slowly closes. So like, and don't be afraid of this in chakra and energies. Like, it's okay to like be open to this and just know that it's there. And just because one thing happens doesn't mean that it's gone and blocked forever. So think of it more of like a little like tide pool or something. And so this is a very balanced chakra. It's going to like the beat of your heart. And anything below that is very slow. So like, you're becoming deficient. And then if you're kind of like a little bit like too open and start really being excessive in that energy of that chakra, then you'll notice like the ego, aggression, and things like that, like domineering conversations, especially with the throat chakra. You'll know if somebody like is really comfy there, then they're a little too excessive. They're going to dominate the conversations.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Right? Yeah. And for me, like, I think it was a huge challenge for me because before I got sick, I was like this. I wasn't really taking up for myself. I wasn't speaking my truth, the things that I know and love. You know, I just wanted to get this job and like want everybody to like me. But being sick, going to these doctors, I had to start picking up the pace and start advocating for myself. It's so important.
So it's like working on your throat. Speaking for yourself.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And it's even like the simplest things, like posting on Instagram. I get a little too scared to post sometimes. Like, why is it like that? There should be my own social network of people who like love and support me. But like, you haven't really made it unless you have haters, right? So like,
yeah.
So I got some fans. I'm sure you guys have some fans. Tell them hello.
We call them creepers.
Creepers. Oh,
hey, creeper.
There's definitely, I feel the same resistance. Like every now and then I'll start pulling back on Instagram because I'm like, I'm putting too much out there. Like I'm annoying people.
No.
And then I wake up to a message from somebody that I don't even really know who's like, I've been watching you. I'm inspired. Tell me more. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I wasn't doing too much. I was doing just enough.
And I think we both get like that.
We both get
because
like that.
It's oftentimes a lot of people that we know. Because they're used to seeing a certain version of us.
Yeah.
And to see us change and evolve and whatever, that has made them uncomfortable.
It's too much for them.
It is. I feel like I'm too much and I'm doing too much, and they don't even want to go there with me. And then we get a message from someone from, across the country, and they're like, "Hey, I've been listening to your podcast."
Like
and
that
you
guy
changed,
from Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You changed my life, or
Completely random. And it's that reassurance where we're like, oh, we're good.
yeah. But it's interesting how it's from people who
We don't
know
know.
you at all,
Yeah.
and they accept you and they embrace you.
Some of your biggest supporters will be people you don't know.
Yeah.
Some of my biggest supporters were people I don't know. I had a friend who was very close to me, realizing like, ooh, she doesn't actually like want this for me.
And isn't that so interesting?
But it's to your point, or your earlier point about you're speaking because of you. Like, this is for you.
Yeah.
Right.
To talk and put out the content you want to put out.
Right.
Like, it helps everybody else, but like, if you're pulling back just because you feel you're going to annoy someone, it's not about them. Like, this is about you. Post.
Well, and
away.
even a lot of times when we talk about it and people are like, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that." I'm like, I wasn't saying that you should or whatever.
Yeah.
I was just talking about
It's
it.
about me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking about it and saying information. It didn't have to be about you. Like, I'm not trying to push anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And listening to your all's podcast, I get that. I feel that from you all. You guys are very low pressure, no pressure.
Yeah.
kind of
And
situation.
yeah, you shouldn't, it's like what so many people who have been a guest on have said, like, if you don't feel called to do it, you shouldn't do it. So we're just providing the information and education about it. You do with that information what you will.
Yeah.
Because you
absolutely.
should do your own research and you should advocate for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Get that chakra, that throat chakra imbalanced. Queen.
Man, I'm getting a therapy session today too.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, you are. So, all right. Next.
Okay, so next.
Can we move on? Okay.
Okay.
Throat.
If you ever feel like you're hiding your opinion or desires, then you're like lacking in the throat chakra. So you can work a little bit there. Yeah.
Okay.
The next y'all will love your third eye. It's right here. It's right there. So it's associated with blue, like a darker blue, and it's associated with your intuition. This again comes in with your gut. So the third chakra, that solar plexus, this is where your ego comes to die or transform. What you were saying earlier. Yeah, so this is like an all-knowing, like you're coming into yourself, you're very comfortable with yourself, you're comfortable with others, and when you're balanced here, you're really radiating love. Same with the heart chakra, like you feel good. Oh, I had a note here to just be like really disconcerting, like where and who you trust, like whenever you are working on your chakras or if you have a spiritual teacher, just making sure that like when you walk in somewhere, if you immediately like distrust someone, that's your gut, that's your third eye talking to you and like just ensuring that you stay safe.
Wow.
But it's all associated with your nervous system, intuition, spiritual growth, and just the generous attitudes towards life. Any dreams or your visions, imagination.
Is that like self-awareness too?
Absolutely, yeah. Being really self-aware about who you are and your non-attachment to things. So that's where the ego transforms.
Yeah.
Because a lot of practitioners are saying, so we have two eyes, right? I'm seeing reality. And then I'm seeing it for like through my own lens. And I still, you can connect with your guides and they can still tell you things. But when your third eye is open, it merges. So you can see everything just all for what it is. And this is when you really realize people's actions aren't really about you. It's how they feel about themselves.
Yeah.
So this is mastering like detachment and just ensuring that like you're good. Always call yourself home. There's something I talk about with my friend Erica a lot, and it's about she's very intuitive and very she's just very skillful, but she's a little scared. She's a little afraid of her abilities.
Yeah.
And we talk about your thoughts and like placed thoughts. So if you had something that just like entered your brain and you didn't think of it yourself, that's a placed thought. So you're balanced in this third eye chakra because you're connected with your guides, your fairies, or your whoever, like whatever you believe in. You have that connection. And you have that intuition.
Damn.
You can trust it. It's safe to trust it.
So good.
I know.
So good. This is so interesting.
I'm glad that you guys are finding it so interesting. I mean, I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're almost to the crown chakra. The very top, very last one is just an all-knowing of yourself. Like, if you might have had the like blessing of knowing someone who just is totally aligned, and I kind of even feel like Kayla is. Like, she's just like, every time I'm in her presence, I'm just like, she's a miracle worker. Like, she's an artiste, like what she does professionally, but also just like her ideas and her, like, she just knows these things like innately. And I think she's done a lot of work, and I mean, a lot of hard work too.
Right.
But she just knows these things. So if you know someone who like everything just works out for them, like, how does that happen? Like, they're likely like open through that crown chakra.
That's kind of the spiritual awakening type situation, right?
Yeah. It can be pretty intimidating too, like to be in the presence of someone's energy this is an intimidating chakra. But if you do more work in just a meditative like state, like, and meditation can be anything. I tried real hard to sit there on my pillow and like do my like closed eyes meditation. I'm just not so great at it. Then I started to realize when I get in a flow in Pilates, like, and I'm doing my own workout, whether I'm listening to music or not, I'm just in this meditative state where nothing can affect me. I'm like, literally, I don't see anything else but myself. And it really grounds me and brings me home when all of your chakras are aligned. Like, there's just, like, you're so powerful, and you can't be messed with when you just know that all is one.
Wow. And it's funny that you say that some people are intimidated by that. I gravitate towards that because I'm like, you're interesting. I want to be like you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so funny.
And just know, like, you can take your dogs for a walk, like you're meditating. That's a prayer. You know, you can be in your own like head. You can daydream. It's also where like positive self-talk, like, this can help graduate you to that opening that crown chakra level.
So how would, like, people who are listening to this episode and they want to get into this, how do you recommend that they start this?
Start like into chakras or Pilates. Just start moving your body. Start strengthening that mind-body connection, because you might be surprised at, I already kind of have a good foundation for this, or I feel really disconnected. You need to just start integrating your mind and your body. For me, any type of movement. If you can move and you can really manipulate your body to do certain things and to really like do challenging movements too, when you graduate and get to that level, you're going to strengthen that mind-body connection. It's only going to help you in every aspect of your life.
I think that we tend to look at Pilates or yoga or these sports as a way to strengthen our physical body without realizing that there is a way to connect to your mental and your spiritual side as well. So I think the intention behind it is also like necessary. Like, you can work out and you can like work yourself to death, and you can look at it as as like an addiction. Like, you're working out to like you're working out like to punishment. Escape or to punish. But instead, if your intention is I'm going to do this for myself so I can fully connect to where I am in my body, feel where I am mentally, I think that you would get so much more out of it.
Yeah.
Out of a workout, out of a yoga class, out of a Pilates class.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it really became like, I'm so lucky I get to do this now. Like, because I lost being able to work out so hard, and I lost being able to like do the things I used to do. And now I just feel like so blessed that I found it. Still mad, still working through like, why did I have to get sick with this like weird thing? Nobody knew you can get sick from mold. Like, why did I have to get sick?
Because look where you are.
Yeah, I was just going to say, look where you are now.
Because look what you're doing for other people. That's why. And that's a really hard thing for us as humans to grasp. Like, why did this have to happen to me? And that's something that I was struggling with this morning in my session is like, you know, I'm the one in my family system with the torch. I'm the one paving this path of healing and creating this way to heal through generational healing and generational trauma and family trauma. And it's hard knowing that that's where my purpose is when I had to go through that, and that to get here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know,
well, it's one of the most...
we get in our own ways.
Yeah, that too. It's one of the most, like, empowering things that I think maybe we can do in our lives is heal the relationships just to the best of our ability, because there's two people. But, like, why do I have to be the one to spearhead the relationship with my mom? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, she's the parent, you know? But it's like, some of these people, like... whether it's a family member or not, if you're healing your own body, spirit, like chakras, like you might have to take yourself out of that for a second because you cannot heal in the environment which made you sick. Literally, like physically, mentally, emotionally, you might have to pull apart. But I understand what you're saying. Like, why do I have to spearhead this? You kidding me?
But you can also
But you're the one who's spearheading it.
I am the one.
You're the one doing it.
But you can also feel... when there is somebody holding you back.
Yeah. But it's hard to let go of that.
And I've told
really
people that too. It's easier to preach than to practice. But whenever you're feeling uncomfortable or you're feeling anxious around someone, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I'm feeling disconnected from myself around someone else, there's a reason for that.
And it just comes back to your mind-body connection. Your body will start telling you things. Have you ever like felt fight or flight? Like, you know when you're in a bad situation. You know, even if it's your friend, if you're around someone who's like not the greatest energy or they're kind of like putting me down a little bit, you know that. Yeah. It's just up to you to listen to it. And you can only strengthen that through strengthening that mind-body connection.
So we're going to take a class.
Yeah.
Take a class.
We're going to take a class.
Seriously.
And another thing that I wanted to add, and it's kind of like what you said in the beginning, how you weren't able to work out for a while because you were sick. And so many people, and I think a lot of women, especially women who have had children, feel like they have to crush it for movement to matter. They have to be like sore for movement to matter. Because even like a lot of times, I used to own a gym and we would, if we had like Pilates or yoga, they're like, I don't want to do this. I'm not burning any calories. I'm not sore. Like I don't feel anything. And it's so dependent. Like the worth of the workout is dependent on like
how
calories.
much you sweat.
Yes.
How many
and
calories
how sore
you
are the next day.
Oh, it drives me
But
crazy.
that kind of goes back to the intention behind it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we were trained to believe that the more weight, the better. The faster, the better. Well, if you're doing Pilates right, it's hard. Pilates is easy unless you're doing it right.
So hard.
It's so hard. And we focus on like form. We want your body to feel good and be in an alignment. So then we'll start adding weight, you know? And
it's not just going through motions. There is an intention on like what you're working.
And when you're in Pilates, you can't think about anything else because I'm teaching you the move and then we're going to refine. We're going to start making sure that like you're in proper form, then make it harder. It is impossible to think about anything else when you are in Pilates and when you're doing it correctly.
There's a connection. Alexa the other day was talking to us about being present and presence being a huge thing. And I just had this thought because I used to take your classes too. Like I used to go to the gym and doing that hard stuff. My mind was so far into, okay, 30 more moves and then we'll be done. 1 more minute and then we'll be done. I was never focused on what I was doing in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody was, but for me, I was just looking forward to getting it over with.
Right.
And then so for Pilates or even yoga, and I'm not a yoga either, it's more about like being present with where you are right then and there.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I think it's kind of goes back to what she said again, savoring everything, whether it be good or bad. Where so many of us aren't necessarily just present.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to feel the high highs or the low lows. We're just here.
Yeah. And people get uncomfy if we get a little off the base.
My favorite new word. That's my favorite new word.
What?
Uncomfy.
Uncomfy.
Matt and I say like, oh, am I making you uncomfy?
I love that.
Sorry. Like, oh, you are uncomfy? Like, oh. Like, are you kidding me? Wake up.
That's where the growth is.
That's where the growth is.
It really is.
And if you're healing the proper way, whatever you're healing from, if it's a broken heart or an illness, injury, like it's gonna be uncomfy. It's gonna get hard. But you're doing it the healthy way. That's why it's hard. Like it'd be easy to just like drink yourself to sleep or to
uncomfortable is
I'm
hard.
gonna go off again.
No, I know. Let me pop off. That's what I think is so. Okay, I want to say this. I'm just gonna say it. Can I say that you've never done?
Yeah, no, we can talk.
This
about
is
that.
what I want to.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
We don't have to go into it, but why we're doing what we're doing. Yes, we have a podcast about psychedelics. Yes, we talk about
that a lot,
mushrooms and LSD and all the other things. But we also try to incorporate these other modalities. And you said when we met, like when you walked in, you were like, I haven't, but I feel like I'm on the other side. And I was like, oh, I love that, because we keep telling people, we are on the other side of healing. We are on the other side of uncomfortable. We are like, every time we face something uncomfortable, we get growth out of it. And we're like, ooh, let's do it again.
Yes.
Let me do it again. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
That looks uncomfortable. Let's do it.
Well,
and you've gotten there without psychedelics.
That's what I was going to say. Psychedelics are a catalyst, but so can other things.
Breath work,
Pilates. Chakras, Pilates.
Tapping.
Tapping.
A little bit into the tapping, too.
I haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet, but I know what you're talking about.
There are lots of modalities to get there. And honestly, I mean, like, I've been through a bit, like, been through a lot, like, have had lots of counseling and therapy and EDMR. Is it EDMR?
EMDR.
EMDR, sorry.
Yeah.
I've tried that. I've gone through, I've been through
done
some shit. So yeah, like, I mean, it's just whatever you can do to get there and heal. Like, I'm just all about, like, if it's constructive and it's healthy and you're doing it to heal, like, you go do it.
Go for you.
Go for you. Go do the thing.
Go you.
Love that journey for you.
Love that journey for you.
Like, I have, like, all of my friends, like, I didn't even really react well to alcohol. Like, I'm not a big drinker. I'll hit the bottle every now and then if we're partying. If we're partying, But, like, at the same time, like, I just realized, like, through college, like, this ain't for me, But that makes people uncomfy, too. A lot of people,
yes, it
like,
does.
We were just talking about that.
But, like, yeah, I can have a drink every now and then. But I have a lot of friends who smoke pot every day. I have a lot of friends who do recreational drugs, like, here and there, and some psychedelics. But, like, I've just never done it before.
Yeah,
but
I love that.
But I think that I'm on the other side. I'm right there with you. Like, I see
you really
all
are.
as one. Yeah, I mean, I'm with it, and I love to shout out to Kelly Majors, my auntie, who got me hooked up with you guys.
We love you, Kelly.
I love you, Kelly. I love that girl. But she really, when we were talking, she was like, I was just with Leah the other day, getting my, like, eyebrows, whatever, and just relating it back to me, and I was like, she wants to talk to me. Like, I'm down. Like, let's chat about this.
I'm so happy we did.
She was like, you guys are just so similar, and it feels like you guys are in the same space.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
And I love meeting people like you because I feel comfortable.
Thank you.
Like,
I'm
I
so
feel
glad,
like I can just...
feel the
there's
same.
an energetic
Yeah.
pull.
Yeah.
When
like,
you
I feel
are like...
at peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially with that throat chakra and talking about the things like you want to talk about the unusual things that you've been through.
Right.
Well, you're going to find out who your friends are real quick. I found out who some of my friends were real quick when I got sick or when I came back and was like, I'm moving back to Louisville and I've got nothing.
Yeah.
Like I have my family. I had a really great support system, but I know like some of my friends came over that night. They're like, let's get your stuff back.
Yeah.
You figure that out the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are going to take a class with you.
Come take a class.
I kind of want to put this out there. You said
Yeah.
you do groups.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we have a lot of local listeners. So I think we should put this out there if you guys are interested in doing like a local group thing.
Good job,
See
Leah.
you on the other side.
I just thought
group.
of that. A See You on the Other Side Pilates group. Can we do that?
I'm so thrilled.
Did not even ask you first.
No, I'm like
without
I'm
Audrey's
inviting
permission.
myself to the party.
I'm so on board wherever. I'm a private Pilates instructor. I can travel, go wherever. We can do something outside. We can go to the studio.
I want some reformer.
I do. Can we do
Come to
that?
the studio. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. We need a group of 7.
Okay.
We can do that.
Oh, we'll figure it out.
Here's 2.
That's
2 right
perfect.
here.
Perfect.
That's all. We can have 7
Come
for
do
sure.
it. I mean, we can do like a monthly thing, weekly thing, whatever. I mean, I'm happy to do it.
And then
I think
people can also book with you privately.
Yeah, you sure can. Yeah,
So-
yeah, I would just say reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Audrey R.E. Allen. Like, just find me. I'm private. Like we talked about, like get a little nervy about posting like certain things. So,
But
the
maybe
people
you should be.
Maybe I should be a little like branch out a little bit, but like
Yeah.
just request follow me, DM me, like we can talk about it and get you set up. Like I don't know how, but let's get together and figure out how we can
Figure
form
this
the
out.
group.
Well, and I think that the way that we do these episodes, it's probably going to be a month before this is out.
Oh, cool.
So we've got time to plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We've got time to
Perfect.
plan.
You can like just record an addendum.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you all for
So
having me.
much.
This has actually been very healing for me because I haven't talked about like getting sick and like healing. And I think it's such a big part of me that I just don't share because of the shame associated with being sick. But like, I really appreciate you like taking the time to not only listen to me, but ask me questions about it. And hopefully just like spread the awareness, like, and help somebody else.
I'm going to fucking cry.
Don't. Or you can. You know what?
She said, don't. Wait, yes, you can.
Yeah, you can. Feel the feels.
Totally cried. Totally
'Cause
cried.
that heart chakra, baby, like we're going to keep it open.
Oh, it's going to be a heavy
We're gonna
day.
keep
It's
it
going to be
open.
a heavy and also releasing
Wow.
day all day.
Thankfully, I brought you cookies.
I know. I'm so excited about
I'm
that.
so excited.
Okay. Thank you. I know
Thank
we're
you.
going to plug your Instagram for sure, and we want people to be in touch with you for the Pilates, but we're going to be in touch. And
Love you both. Thank
for
you.
want to close out, me close out?
You got it, babe.
All right. Follow us on See You on the Other Side podcast on Instagram. We have our YouTube still going. Hey, guys. Everybody wave at the
Please
cameras.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and follow and share. And we'll see you guys on the other side.
Bye.
Bye.